Colleagues, it's 3 o'clock. I would like us to continue with the work. We've had the department's presentation, and we will now deal with the three presentations of Mzimvubu, Pongola, and the Vaal-Orange. The presenters of the three CMAs, please, we don't want to hear your vision and mission and the areas you serve. Go straight into your business of your outcomes and your financials so that we as a committee can deal with those. So with that said in mind, Minister, I'm handing it back to you.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency, Chairperson, Honorable Basson, members of the committee, my Deputy Minister, my brother, Sitlulu, the Director General, Sean Phillips, and the team of DDGs and other senior managers, including our provincial heads. We follow your guidance, Chairperson. In our midst, we have Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma Catchment Management Agency, is led by our Chairperson of the Board, Mr. Nkondlo, and the Interim Chief Executive Officer, Sbusiso Mjwaha. The Pongola-uMzimkulu CMA, the Chair is Dr. Tava Kelly. The acting CEO Usheng, Mr. Buthelezi. The Vaal-Orange CMA Chair, my brother Des van Fransman. The CEO is Ms. Lerato Muraga. These are the people that will make the presentation, Chair. And as directed before, Chairpersons of the Board, with your introduction of a minute or two, the CE and the CFO, you don't have more than 15 minutes to make your presentation. We'll start with Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma CMA, led by Mr. Nkondlo. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister, and also welcome to Deputy Minister Sitolo. I saw him come on later after he had his cabinet meeting. Also welcome to you, Deputy Minister. Can we now then ask, as the Deputy Minister has indicated, you've got 15 minutes to do your presentation, and please just stick to the business. And after that, after all three presentations, there will be time for members to ask questions, and you would immediately answer those questions as they are asked by each and every individual member. You can continue now.
My apology, Chair. All the Chair of the Board and the presenters, please show your face first, and then you can proceed under the guidance of our Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of the committee, Deputy Ministers, Honorable members of the committee. My name is Simphiwe Nkondlo. I'm the Chair of the Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma CMA. The CEO will be making the presentation, but I just want to indicate that we are one of the new boards that started in January. We're a board that has got 9 members, and we have just been working on being an incubated CMA. We have just been eagerly waiting for the transfer of staff from the department. We've got a staff complement in terms of the positions in the organogram of 145 positions, and 105 of those are filled by departmental officials that are in the Proto CMA, which we are hoping will be transferred over to the agency. We have just advertised and shortlisted for interviewing our CE and company secretary. So we are at that level in terms of our establishment. Going to slide number 10, which is the essence of what we'll be presenting today.
Sorry, Chair, my hand is raised. Sorry, Chair.
Yes,
Chair,
the
slides were not moving. The slides were not moving.
It
I
is
don't know whether
moving.
there's a problem with my. Is it moving now?
It's moving. It's on your side, most probably. You're on page 10 now.
Yes,
Okay.
slide.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This is the slide that starts introducing the outcomes that we're looking at in Program 1. The outcome that deals with the administration and governance is looking at all the issues relating to the adherence to corporate governance requirements. Then Program 2 being the core business of the agency will be looking at the protection and use of water resources. We will be doing this over 16 rivers that we're looking at, and of course there are a lot of other infrastructure like 29 wastewater treatment works at municipal level. So we'll be looking at issues of protection and use of water resources from that point of view. In terms of outcome number 3, that looks at effective and efficient water resource institutions, again, we are dealing with a number of water resource institutions ranging from 10 catchment management forums, 8 irrigation boards that needs to be transformed, 4 water users association, and we're also still dealing with about 7 government water schemes. That's part of the institutions that will be working on making sure that there's effective and efficient water resource institutions being developed. And on outcome number 4 deals with the effective stakeholder commitment as part of the role of the CMA is ensuring that there is extensive stakeholder participation. At this stage, Chair, I'll hand over to the CE to then drill down to what the plans are in terms of these outcomes, and also the CFO would assist with the budget. Thank you.
You can continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
And just show your camera on and then you can put it off again.
CE?
Leadership Chair, you can proceed if he has disappeared so that we don't lose our time.
All right, CE, I'm not sure what's happening on your side. Can we move to the next slide? The next slide basically just summarizes the operating models in terms of the 2 main programs that we'll be reporting on today, which is the administration and governance program, or I can see the CE is back. Can you take over from here then, CE?
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to the Chairperson of the committee, the 2 DMs, the Chairpersons of the board, the CEs, the DG, and colleagues. Thank you very much. I will be going straight to slide number 13 with your assistance. I have just noticed when I was browsing through the slides, Chair, in terms of the corporate governance prescripts, the output indicators are the number of financial policies to be approved. We are targeting 9. The error that I have just identified now is that in terms of the number of human resource policies, there should be 5 instead of 2. Chair, that is the error that I've just seen. But in the actual APP document, it is correct. The communication strategy, we're anticipating a final communication strategy by the end of the financial year. The ICT strategy, we're anticipating to have the draft ICT strategy currently with the assistance of DWS colleagues, and the strategic risk register developed. Here we're anticipating the risk management plan to be developed, Also, we are being assisted by the department at this stage, as well with the audit plan that is to be developed, which we anticipate to be completed in the current financial year. Moving to the next slide, the targeted procurement, the percentage of targeted procurement budget spent on the SMEs, we anticipate greater or equal to 30%. In terms of women, 40%, youth, 30%, the people with disabilities, 7%. The financial control and sustainability maintained. In terms of the output indicator, debtors payment days, we targeting 150 days. And in terms of the creditors payment days, we're targeting not more than 30 days. The current ratio, greater or equal to 1:1. And the number of finance business processes to be developed, we're targeting to have 5 completed. The percentage of vacant positions to be filled, we are targeting 90%. We have already, as the chairperson of the board has already alluded on, that we have already started the recruitment process of the company secretary, board secretary, and the CE. In terms of the water resource management, which is program 2, the catchment management strategy developed. We anticipate to have a draft catchment management strategy in this financial year. And the number of rivers in which the river eco status monitoring program is implemented, we are targeting to have all 16 rivers done. And the number of river systems monitored for the implementation of resource-directed measures for this financial year, we are targeting 1. And the number of strategic points monitored for water resource quality, we are targeting to have done 16. The percentage of waste discharge charge strategy implementation, we are targeting not less than 80%. The protection and use of water resources, in terms of the enforcement, regulatory compliance, the output indicator, percentage of high risk water use license application processed within 74 working days, we are targeting not less than 80%. Percentage of approved water authorizations registered, we are targeting not less than 90%. The number of existing water users verified, we are targeting 150. The number of existing water users validated, we are also targeting 150.
Pick up your pace.
Oh, thank you, DM. The percentage of enforcement, we are targeting not less than 80. The percentage of reported cases, not less than 80%. Percentage of population incident responded, not less than 80%. And in terms of monitoring of restrictions within the water management area, we are targeting to have done all 100%. If we can move to the next slide. The number of irrigation boards transformed into water associations, water user associations, we're targeting 1. The number of institutional business plans evaluated, we're targeting 3 for this financial year. Number of institutions assessed per quarter, we are also targeting 3. And the number of institutional annual reports evaluated, we are also targeting 3. The stakeholder engagement plan developed, we are targeting to have the approved stakeholder engagement plan. At this point, Chair, I would like to hand over to the CFO, who is also the CFO of the department, who is currently assisting the CMA up until the CMA appoint its own CFO. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, there was an echo. Apologies. CE, please mute.
You can continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Chairperson, the allocation for the CMA over the MTF is 386 million. And for the 25-26 financial year, it is 120 million. And the allocation that is coming through grant from the department is 22 million, with water resource charges making up 97 million. As indicated with the previous ones, the increases over the MTF are also guided by National Treasury. They do give us the CPI guidelines that we should be using. And also to confirm, as indicated earlier on, that the department is working on a data management strategy that we are also applying through our entities and currently through the CMAs as well. We spoke about those measures that we are implementing to manage the debt book, as well as to improve revenue collection. Those are also highlighted on the slide there. The next slide is the breakdown of the budget for the two programs summarized there. As indicated also, we do have detailed budget allocations, cost centers, and budget items. Administration in this case is 50 million, and water resource management is 69 million for the 25-26 financial year. The ratio, which we discussed with the previous ones, in this case, we are having a ratio of 42 and 58 respectively between the two programs. And the compensation of employees is at 76 million for the 25-26 financial year and 133 over the MTF. We are also applying the same principles since we are currently assisting the CMAs of cost-saving measures that we are adopting. Shared service model are also applicable in this case. We are also making use of the transversal contracting from National Treasury. And on compensation of employees, we also proceed with the headcount management. And we also have a human resource budget planning where we are filling only critical funded posts. As the chairperson also indicated, we have started with those executive positions. In summary, chairperson, this is the high-level budget for the CMA. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we now go to Pongola?
It is talking, but it's muted.
The Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, the Honourable Members of Parliament, the two Deputy Ministers that are present, the DG and officials of the Department of Water and Sanitation's chairpersons of the CE, as well as the CEs of the CMAs. My name is Dr. Thava Kelly, and I share this platform with the interim CEO, which is Robert Zakele Buthelezi. And our board comprises of 9 directors, 5 females and 4 males. Out of this, we have the deputy chairperson, which is Sibusiso Makanya, who holds a diploma in engineering as well as an MBA. We've got Tanda Mshlongo, who is a qualified CA. We've got Dr. Ngoma, who is a scientist and holds a PhD in geography. We've got Prof. Reddy, who is the head of School of Business for UKZN, and he also has a PhD in administration. We've got Shlengiwe Ndlovu. She's got a master's in hydrology. We've got Sne Mgadi, who has a a Bachelor of Social Science. We've got Becky Gumbi, who has an LLB, and we've got Mandla Myeni, who has a BCom degree specializing in industrial psychology. We would like to thank you for the opportunity to account and align in terms of our institutional priorities with the strategic objectives of the department and in line with the national development agenda. Some of the highlights from 24-25, we've established Water Users Forum in underserved rural areas. I think we've advanced in terms of, as a CMA, in terms of development of a CMS. We've been established since December 2023. We're supporting redress through the licensing process, especially with regards to technical support to smallholding farmers. I think as PUCMA, we are ready to serve as a model for a decentralized, accountable water resource management. With that said, I'm going to hand over to the acting C, Zakhele Buthelezi, who's going to lead us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, members of the Portfolio Committee, Chairpersons of the Board, Deputy Ministers, colleagues here, CEOs, and colleagues from the Department of Water and Sanitation. I will be taking you through the presentation from Pongola-uMzimkulu Catchment Management Agency. Maybe if you can just assist me with scrolling. I think here, members, I'll take as members have gone through the presentation. It's just to highlight the geographical area of the water management area.
The chairperson of Portfolio Committee, let's go to the actual issues, not the areas of operation and vision.
Okay. No, thank you very much, DM. I'll go straight there. I think it's, if you can scroll. The strategic map, we've got 4 outcomes. Outcome number 1, adherence to corporate governance requirements. Outcome number 2, protection and the use of water resources. Outcome 3, effective and efficient water resources institution. And outcome number 4, effective stakeholder commitments. And we've got 11 outputs and 36 indicators. If you can scroll down. You've got 2 programs. One is the administration, which comprises of the following: the Office of the CE, Finance, Corporate Services, Risk and Compliance, as well as the internal audit. Let's go to the output indicators and the target under the administration. We are going to be also looking at developing some of the policies of finance, human resources management policies, the communication strategy, the ICT strategy. Those are the things under that corporate governance regulatory prescript developed. And we're also going to develop the strategic risk, the audit action plan, APP, the shareholder compacts, annual reports, as well as the quarterly reports that will be submitted to the departments. Then under the preferential procurement, the percentage spent on the SMMEs, we are anticipating to be over 30, to be equal or over 30%. The women 40%, youth 30%, and people with disability 7%. The collection, the data's payment days, we are anticipating that on average it will take us 120 days to collect, and 30 days we committed to pay within 30 days our suppliers, and our current ratios will be equals to or greater than 1:1. Then we also have the percentage of the vacant positions filled, as well as the staff turnover, which is, we're anticipating it to be just 8%. So these are the indicators under the administration. Under the water resource management, which is the core function of the CMA. If you can scroll down. Under the water resource management, we are looking at the number of rivers that we'll be monitoring, which is 10, and the number of river system monitored for the implementation of the resources directed measures, which is 12. And we are also looking at 150 rivers that will be monitoring in terms of the water quality on a quarterly basis. And the percentage waste discharge strategy implemented, we are looking at 75%. The percentage of the high-risk water use license application process and recommended within 74 working days, it's 80%, and a percentage of approved water use authorization registered in WOM, it's 100%. The number of water users verified and validated, we are looking at 40, and number of users which will be monitored for compliance, we are looking at 10, and the percentage reported non-compliance cases investigated, 80%. The enforcement action taken against non-compliant users, we are looking at the 80%. Percentage of the pollution incident responded to within 78 hours, it's 100%. Percentage of monitoring of restriction within the water management area, it's 100%. Then we also, on the water resources institution compliance implemented, number of institution business plan evaluated, we are looking at 7. The number of institutions assessed per quarter, it will be 6, and the number of institution annual report evaluated, we are looking at 18. And we are also committed to engage about 10 learners, and a number of stakeholder engagement conducted for the strategic partners, we are looking at 12, and the number of clear river campaigns, we are looking at 3, and the number of adopt a river projects implemented, it's about 3. These are the projects where we deal with the issues around our rivers. So we are looking at 3 for the river campaigns, as well as the 3 for the adopt a river. So those are the output indicators that are included in our water resource management. Then when it comes to the overview of the budget, here is just the funding source in terms of our budget. About 85% of our revenue, we anticipate that is going to come from water resource management charges, and about 15%, which is 22.5 million, is going to come from the augmentation from the department. And over the 3 years, our budget, we've set aside a budget of 467.2 million, Chairperson. And then, let's move to the next. In terms of the next, the overview in terms of the program, in the 2025-2026 for the administration program, we've budgeted 53.4, and the water resources management 81.9 million, and all in all is 135.2. These exclude the capital payment, the capital assets, which are going to be, these are just operational expenditures. The expenditure per economic classification, in terms of the compensation of employees, we are looking at about 55 to 56%, which is 83.2 million. The goods and services, we anticipate to spend just over 52 million, and for the capital assets, it's about 13.6 million. In terms of the employee compensation, we are looking at the 129 staff members once they are transferred from the department, and included under the goods and services are programs such as the river health, implementation of the water management strategy, office accommodation. We also set aside about 4.8 million for the water quality testing and the management, and as well as the implementation of the catchment management strategy programs, which we actually set aside about 3 million. And as the new entity as well, we've set aside about 13 million for the capital assets such as the computer equipment, your server, your your office furniture and the likes. So that is the overview of the budget for the POCMA. Chairperson, I think that will be our presentation from POCMA. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is also quick. Minister, would you like to add something before we go to questioning? You all...
There's the one that is remaining, Chair. The
Oh, my apologies, Vaal.
It's led by my brother, Mr. Fransman.
My apologies.
It's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, how can I forget the Reverend here?
Yeah.
My apology. Let's see whether you can do it the same. Not preaching for us, but delivering the actions. Thank you.
He can pray for more rain.
Yeah. It's raining in Cape Town at the moment, so that's fine.
No, DM, you will see ever since I started being here that we have a lot of rain, maybe too much in some areas, but yeah, ever since I started, there's a lot of rain. On a lighter note. Thank you very much, Honorable Leon Basson and the Portfolio Committee. Also DM Aflobo and DM Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. Just to save time, all protocol observed. I am Chair, I'm not alone. I am accompanied by our CEO, Mayor Lerato Morake, and also our CFO, Mayor Fanisa Lamola. Now, Chair, as a disciplined cadre of water and sanitation and catchment management, I think we should skip all slides 1 up to 6. And as I hand over to the CEO to start with slide 7, to start with all the salient matters, because we would also agree that most of the outcomes and the programs that we have presented since this morning are basically the same. So if CEO can maybe just shoot straight from slide 7, if you don't mind, Chair, let me give over to our CEO. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You're welcome. You can continue.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning, Honorable Ministers, Honorable members of the Portfolio Committees, DG and board members and my colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity. I will be presenting on the program as indicated, Program 1 and Program 2, with the outcome of adherence to
You are muted, Lerato.
Apologies, Chair. I'll focus on Program 1 and Program 2 in line with the outcomes of adherence to corporate governance. For Program 1 and Program 2 has about 3 outcomes: protection and use of water resource, efficient and effective institution, and effective stakeholder engagement. We can go to the next slide. These slides, we are looking at the indicators for policies that will be approved and strategies that will be developed. We have about 4 policies that will be approved and 2 strategies that will be developed, and also ensuring that we manage the risk and controls are in place in terms of audit. We are looking at ensuring that we achieve 60% of risk management together with implementation of our audit plan. Next slide. When we look at financial sustainability, we are looking at monitoring our debtor days and also ensuring that we do pay on time, and we are responsible also in ensuring that we pay our liabilities on time. In terms of water resource, functional human resources, we are ensuring that all the vacant positions are filled, ensure that 40% of vacant positions are being filled, while we are also ensuring that we support our SMMEs at a target of 30%, which is which supports both women and the youth, Together with disabilities, the targets are as 40, 30, and 7%. Next slide. Under Program 2, we have water resource management. Under water resource management, we are targeting to develop our catchment strategy that will have a draft strategy by the end of the year. Under water resource monitoring, we do commit to monitoring our obligations with the internal institutions and ensuring that the ecosystem of our rivers are surviving very well. Also ensuring that the allocations, the reserves in our rivers is met. That is target indicator 2.3, where we ensure that the Vaal system has adequate allocation, the reserves is adequate, and the quality is compliant. We are also monitoring about 32 points within the Vaal and Orange to ensure that the quality is being monitored, and we take into account, we take accountability and take those who are responsible for polluting under enforcement. We are able to demonstrate that they are polluting. Indicator 2.5 percentage of waste discharge. This is to ensure that those who are discharging, we implement the polluter pay principle. Those who are discharging, we monitor and we ensure that they are being held accountable in terms of payment of what the charge. Next slide. This is enforcement. We are targeting to achieve 80% of the high risk. We ensure that the licenses are processed within 74 working days, and then ensuring that the water use authorization also 95% of those authorizations are processed. In terms of water users for verification and validation, we do ensure that we will commit to ensuring that the targets are met so that we can release the available water for those who need them. And for compliance, lawful and unlawful water use, we are targeting to monitor compliance in line with the licenses that we have issued. And then we are also targeting that all unlawful uses that are reported, we will investigate and achieve greater than 80% for those. We are also targeting that for any pollution that has been reported, we will respond within 78 hours. Next slide. In terms of institution, the Proto CMA has already transferred the irrigation board into water users. We are also targeting that we will monitor their annual plans and we will assess them quarterly, and also ensure that on the annual basis, we are able to evaluate their annual reports. In total, we have about 17 water use associations, and we are also, like the minister has indicated, that engagement of stakeholders at community level is very critical for the CMA. We are also going to look at developing a stakeholder engagement plan that caters for all communities and all relevant stakeholders within the catchment. Next slide. The next slide, on this slide, I would like members to note the last but 3 bullets, that the budget that we'll be presenting, we take into consideration the guidelines from National Treasury, and that the other assumptions that we took into consideration is that currently the Proto CMA is operational. The actual expenditure and budgets and contracts that are in place were taken into consideration. Just to indicate that the CMA has about 194 employees that are, of which 94 of them it's within the Proto CMA. Next slide. These are the allocations that we'll be receiving, just to indicate that we'll be receiving about, the first one is the grant from Parliament, which is about 28 million. And then from the charges that will charge water users, we will be receiving 296 million. and from interest, we'll be receiving about 4 million. In terms of percentage contribution, the grant contributes 9%, and the water resource charges, it contributes 90%, and 1% from the interest received. Next slide. We can skip this slide. Let's go to the next slide. This is the breakdown of the economic classification for compensation. We are looking at 184.7 million. And then for goods and services, it's about 136. For payments for capital, we are looking at 5.6 million with a total of 228.5 million. In terms of percentage contribution, employees, compensation to employees contributes 56%, goods and services 42%, and payment for capital asset 2%. Next slide. This is the budget in summary of what has been prepared. Thank you, Chairperson.
Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, on our side, as a ministry and a department, if you look at these CMAs, the ones that we're dealing with now, they are all new. They are part of, what do I call it, bringing back to complete this work in the National Water Act. The challenges around the viability, financial viability. We've spoken to you about them, that we'll have to support them around the question of revenue enhancement strategies, credit control, looking at shared services model, but also other issues around recruitment and transfer of staff. And you could see these ones are covering some of the strategic water systems. And the area of these water management areas, that is broad, very, very big. But you could see when Pongola-uMzimkulu, they were presenting, Minister applied her mind on the quality of the boards that we've appointed, and we will be supporting them to ensure that they get the right CEOs to finally be appointed. We might have some difficulties just looking at the levels at which the CEOs are being pitched. Initially, we indicated that most of the CEOs are at level 14, which is about 1.436 million per annum, which is a package. And but we'll test in the market. We are competing with other people because the measures are very stringent. And we're very pleased that Dr. Phillips and the team, they have moved to find each other with the unions, so that at least the issues of staff transfers can start to proceed earnestly, because it's a transitional work, because most of the work was done by certain people in our regional offices. That's why even the regional heads are here. And then the CFO is holding their hands very closely. You could see in certain instances is reporting on their behalf, because most of the monies are the monies that are appropriated to us, and these are the monies that are going to be transferred as a seed funding while they are finding their feet. But we're very pleased with the three chairs and the acting CE. And this time around, Chair, we did break the record before 15:45. All the three presentations have been done in less than 45 minutes. Once again, thank you. And I have my brother, DMC Tlulu, if he wants to come in with your guidance, Chair, he can come in before we take questions. Thank you.
Deputy Minister Sitolo, do you want to add something to that?
Not at all, Chairperson. I think the presentations are quite clear, and as DMFLOB has emphasized that, of course, these particular proto-CMAs are new. and that as a department, our responsibility is to offer them as much support as we can from a water resource management point of view, so that we may be able to begin to address some of the fundamental issues that we are facing along the catchments. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, let's go around 3 questions. Honourable Moore, your hand was up, it went down, so you're losing out now. It's Honourable Kobe, she go first, you go second, and then Honourable Kegakilwe will be the 3rd member. Honourable Kobe?
Thank you so much, Chair. And good day to the Deputy Ministers, both of them, and the boards and the CEs that are present and the CFOs. Thank you so much for the presentation, colleagues. Chair, I just want to echo, I think, some of the sentiments that the DM has mentioned. It is clear that from the presentations, they're quite standard. I think they look alike. They've got standardized targets. Pongola, I want to really commend them for their representation of women, particularly at the board level. I think that it's exceptional and excellent that we have women who have PhDs and masters on that level. My concerns, Chair, across the 3 boards is just the representation of women, 40% in terms of the SMMEs. Is the reason why we kept it at 40%? Why can't we go higher and ensure that an equitable representation, especially on the end of women? And then I think the VAL, the 75% target on the polluters. To what extent, I just want to know, does the Department of Environment play a part in ensuring that they assist in terms of pollution? I know that Vaal particularly has high levels of pollution. Does the Department of Environmental Affairs come in and also play a role to ensure that they assist, or is it just primarily the role of catchment authorities in agencies in that area? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister Matlobo?
No, thank you very much, Chair. Let's welcome the input by Honourable Kobe. I can see she's coming for the night shift, Chair. We missed her in the morning. The issues around representation, these boards are all appointed by the Minister of Water and Sanitation. We go through processes, but ultimately there are rules that guide us. One of the rules is representativity. All our boards, Chairperson, without fail, they have a 50-50 representation. We also look at geographical spread. We also look at issues of youth representation, young people on the age of less than 35. What we could do, Honourable Kobe, just to check how our boards looks like, whether the CMA, whether the water boards and others, we take that into account because it's a decision of cabinet that we need to look at. And because of the nature of the work these entities, they do, there's a mixture of skills. In terms of the skills, one of the skills we look at is technical know-how. There is no single board that doesn't have qualified engineers. We also look at financial, and we're pleased that there are many people who are actually either chartered accountants or degrees in financial management and accounting. But because of issues of governance, your King's report, other requirements, others are lawyers, it's a very, very balanced team. And in instances, when the chair is a male, you'll find that the deputy chair is a lady. In certain instances, you'll find that the chair and the deputy chair, they're all ladies. It's a balanced team. On the issues of one of their roles around water resource management, they do because the water resources must be kept in a pristine condition. For every catchment management strategy, there's an issue around issues of water use authorizations. And in the water use authorization, there are those that they apply on the basis that there's an effluent that must be discharged into the river. Whether you look from section 21G or not 21F until you go to 21K of the licenses, there are normally conditions that get issued depending on the resource quality objectives to say the resource in terms of the body of the water course. What are the tolerable levels so that we don't actually impact on the biodiversity? The water remains to be in good condition. When they apply for those licenses, there's a responsibility that those licenses, when they're issued, they must be within the resource quality objective of the system. They must meet water quality standard in terms of SANS 241 and others. There are different SANS numbers that are there. And then there has to be monitoring and compliance where they put, the department has monitoring points. There are people who are checking that work. We work very close with people who are administering NEMA, the National Environmental Management Act, the mining regulation, all other users so that they can do. There is a joint working relationship, but ultimately we are the ones who issues the license. And then also the issues of inspections, there are those who are inspecting internally, but there are also those officers that are registered as inspectors on the basis of environmental management legislation, even when we deal with those particular issues. There is that collaboration between all these entities because our belief is that we're not going to run out of water, but the deterioration has significant impact on the environment, on water security and availability, including the treatment cost. It will make it more expensive. But most of these matters are always handled by my brother Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. Very, very strong views and actions, ensuring that nobody plays around issues of causing harm, because polluters must be stopped, it must be prevented, and those who must pay. And Mzimvubu might want to come in chair on that one, but there is a good collaboration. But the numbers of board members, their qualifications, we'll give it to you. It's a public information document. Mzimvubu, Waikoala leadership.
Deputy Minister?
No, thanks so much. Thank you so much, DM, and thank you, Chair. What I would like to propose, Chairperson, is that in as far as our relationship with DFFE is concerned, there are quite a number of concerns that I personally have, which through you, Chairperson, I would want to allow ourselves as a department to have an engagement with DFFE, particularly in and around the issue of resolution. I had a conversation with my colleague this morning, and we will be preparing a meeting with the Minister of DFFE to just kind of navigate through some of the issues, concerns that we have in addressing some of these issues, because we as a department don't necessarily have a specific budget in our line, us being able to address some of the issues that actually fall within the mandate and ambit of DFFE. But as Dear Matroba has said, it's a huge concern for us in terms of the state of the river. I've said many times in this portfolio committee why that is and what can be done in order for us to be able to do that, and working with VOCMA as well as other catchment management forums. It is our responsibility and duty to make sure that we're able to address those particular issues. But Chairperson, perhaps through you, if I could ask DG, if Annette is in the meeting, to just specifically address some of those issues that we will be addressing with DFFE in as far as this issue is concerned. Thank you.
There's DG's one, DM is also here leading them.
All right, DG.
Oh, my apologies.
Thank you. Maybe Annette, if you can start, and then Lani might like to add.
Right. Thank you, DG. Thanks, DM. All right. I think just broadly, there was a question about pollution and the role of the Department of Environmental Affairs versus that of the CMAs and the Department of Water and Sanitation. The Department of Water and Sanitation and the CMAs are responsible for the implementation of the National Water Act. So we are primarily focused on land-based activities that could cause pollution that is discharged into our water resources, mainly wastewater treatment works or industrial discharge or mining type of activities when it comes to waste-related issues. Where the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment has got an overarching legislation that's called the National Environmental Management Act. And that sets the principles of environmental management, and it also creates the enabling provisions for our environmental management inspectors. It gives us the powers to conduct investigations, inspections, to seize and search vehicles, and to be able to be peace officers to effect arrests and carry out dockets. Under the National Environmental Management Act, there are specific environmental management acts. So DFFE is also responsible for the implementation of the National Environmental Management Waste Act for solid waste, your landfills, etc. That's also responsible for pollution. And they are also responsible for industrial waste and air quality that can also affect water through rainfall if it comes into contact with air pollution. So the two departments work closely together through the Environmental Management Inspectorate. We conduct joint inspections for sectors. And then with the CMAs also building their capacity, they are also environmental management inspectors. And they form part of the working groups that we have with environmental affairs. Now, DM Setlolo was talking also about the biological controls, where the function originally was with the Department of Water and Forests at that stage, but the function moved across with funding to the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. And lately, there is a challenge with funding and responsibilities is unclear between our two departments in dealing with invasive aliens specifically. And the meeting that we have to resolve is to see the clear roles between the two departments. Thank you.
Lani, would you like to add?
Where is DDG's one?
He was in the meeting just now. Maybe he's got a connectivity problem. DM.
No, it's fine, DG.
We can. We'll go to a specific question also to Vaal. Maybe they can also just elaborate on what has been said now by the DG as well as Annette. Would you like to come in on this, Vaal-Orange?
Chair, maybe also just maybe to mention that DM Setlolo did launch the Vaal Anti-Pollution Forum, and it's still a work in progress, if one can put it that way. If one can look at our terms of reference of the Vaal Anti-Pollution Forum, you would see that we aim to have in the composition of the task team, you would see that we obviously DWS and ourselves will be leading that. But then we also have additional members like DFFE, the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural. So all of these stakeholders, obviously, we have looked at that because I think the Honorable Kobe is correct that our systems, especially the Vaal, is heavily polluted, and we can assure the portfolio committee that we are looking into that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
The last one here is that Honorable Kobe, while this other work is being done, the department continues to do enforcement. Remember, the Vaal River system starts in Mpumalanga in Ermelo-Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. You will be aware that certain activities have been taken. Ermelo-Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma has been taken to court. They were fined about 300 million just to produce a plan to stop it from where it is. In the meantime, the department is helping them to build an integrated wastewater treatment works. With the Reverend Fransman, I was with him opening up pump stations around the sewer problems of Liqua in Standerton. Remember, from Elmero, you come to Liqua, a lot of these things that are being done, so that at least this load that is coming to Mfuleni is being attended, and not Mfuleni to the Vaal. Even the problem of Mfuleni, we are aware, we intervened. The DG was reporting on the other day that the SPV has been approved now. And you go down until to the end of the Orange Vaal River system. You go to Kimberley. Actions is being taken. Iketleso works with them all the time, the provincial head. There are other things where we arrest, we prosecute, same time we deliver support so that at least wastewater systems are being attended to, including the thing that happened in the Vaal barrage where there was a lettuce and every other thing. Probably at a particular point through yourselves, Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma and his intervention around the protection of water resource so that it can't be deteriorated. We can talk about that, but there's a lot of faceted, multi-pronged approaches and strategies that we're employing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kobe, are you satisfied with the questions?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Chair, I'm not too sure if the DM did answer. If he did, my apologies. With regards to why the representation and representativity of women, SMME specifically, is kept at 40%. Is there a reason for that? Thanks, Chair.
We'll look at that, Chair. Minimum in the department, it was initially 30% in terms of our SED goals. We are pushing it to more than, ultimately it was revised to 40%, I remember correctly now. But we want to push it to be at 50% plus, including the issues of the youth. But these are the minimums in terms of the departmental policy. We can be able to push it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, DM. Thank you to the DG and the department, as well as the various catchment management authorities. This was actually really great because we had the 3 presentations earlier today, and we've had these 3. And financially, I'm very glad to see that the 3 catchment agencies here are all largely relying on the money that they get from their water charges, which is obviously key. So my first question, Chair, is just regarding the strong reliance on water resource charges, which is what we want. We don't want them to be relying on grants. But we've also seen amongst our water boards, amongst municipalities, challenges with regards to revenue collection. And I wanted to know whether there were any challenges facing the water catchment authorities with regards to that, because it's a very strong example seeing the strong reliance on water resource charges. The second question is to the department and maybe the DM regarding earlier today we had a presentation by the Inkomati Usutu and some of the other catchment authorities. There clearly seem to be some of our catchment authorities who are managing to get their revenue right and are generating the majority of their functioning, their revenue from the work that they're doing rather than from grants from the department. I think Breda Olifants also has a much larger grant coming in, percentage of their total coming in, and whether the department could have a look at the strong functioning authorities like we have here and see whether there's some lessons to be learned so we can try and strengthen that, puts less pressure on the departmental budget and makes them more sustainable in the long term. And finally, just the final question, Chair, is around, obviously, these are some newly established CMAs, which are still in transition, supported by the department. And I want to know, what is the timeline and plan for reaching full operational independence, including HR, IT systems, the whole shebang? And what support is needed from this committee, if any, to help accelerate this transition to get them fully up and running? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister,
I will ask that we start with our CMA, the chairperson, to respond to Honorable Moore around the issues if they're experiencing any challenges around the of revenue collection and credit control, just briefly, including the lessons learned. And then the others will deal with ourselves at the departmental level. Thank you. We can start with Reverend to lead the charge.
Thank you, Chair. Fortunately for us, Honorable Chair, is that we don't deal with, as also previously mentioned, with the hardcore municipality, and one would actually want to say the problem children when it comes to revenue collection in the country. We have our water boards and bigger companies and firms, you know, that who are basically our clients. But we do experience the knock-on effect or snowball effect, if you like, for the mere fact that you would have your Rand Waters, your Vaal Central struggling to collect revenue from their clients, and then that would then snowball or knock on to our books. We are busy dealing with that, but I must say ours is not as hectic as you would have in water boards. I hope that suffices, DM.
Yes, we can quickly do Dr. Kelly with your permission, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, dear Chair. From Pongola side, with regards to the question on debt collection, our top debtors remain at 86 million, with municipality being one of our biggest debtor. Umgeni Utukela at 6.7, and we have SAPI Southern Africa at 5.1. So in terms of the top three, this is where we sit in terms of the challenges with regards to debt collection that affects the CMA via the water boards. I think the question in terms of support that will be needed, I think the Department of Water and Sanitation is actually offering us a lot of support in terms of piggybacking in terms of their debt collection policy, and of which we have taken advantage of. In terms of revenue collection, our revenue collection stands at 85%, which was presented, which is 126.1 million. And the augmentation is 22.5. I think a lot of work needs to be done in terms of the waste discharge charge, which will obviously input in terms of better revenue collections from CMAs. And I think a lot of emphasis will be placed on that. I submit, Chair.
Maybe Dr. Babkondlo, on your side.
Thank you, DM. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think from our side, again, being a very new CMA, a lot of this is still being handled by the department, but from the reports that we get from management, that there are payment challenges that we are experiencing as with the proto CMA that is currently running. Some of those relate, though, to processes that we may need to fine-tune as we move forward, particularly around contracting and our billing systems, specifically in dealing with the expiry of licenses and how we deal with those when it comes to payments. So we are looking at really focusing on this as a priority area as the board, as soon as we get fully operational. And I think, again, the issue of being fully operational is largely dependent on the whole process of transfer of staff, which the department has been championing. And with the signing of the agreement now, we are more hopeful that within this current financial year, we could have a large number of staff being transferred over from the department to the CMA. Thank you. Thank you.
The other questions, Honorable Moore, we are still in the process of full operationalization of these three CMAs, including the other one earlier on of Limpopo. in the main, we are still in a transitional period. The department is actually much closer. We do have the governance structures now. They're doing policies. But some of these water management areas, Honorable Mom, the Vaal-Orange River system is a system where it's in the economic hub in the main. And you could see that the potential of the users meeting their obligations is very, very, very high. And it's one of those, if you look even in our own water trading entity, and we have very strong institutions like Rainwater and the others that are doing that, but there is also the delivery of water directly by ourselves to strategic users like power generation and others that are there. Those are some of the issues, but you could see there are very, very bigger areas to look at. Our financial viability plans and strategies around revenue collection, credit control, management of other fees, and so forth. These are the things that the DG is working on them and the team supported by CFO, because we don't want them to collapse. These ones, it can be very dire just for economic reasons if they don't do well. But some of the issues that you were guiding us, we'll look at them. They do have their own organization. It's called AuSISA. It's an association of water institutes. They have the CMA themselves there. They have the water boards, they have the Water Research Commission. They do from time to time support the ministry and the sector around the thought leadership or knowledge, sharing of these other things. And we too, we do tap from them. They are actually led by the chairperson of Rainwater, is also the chairperson of this entity of their association, because even in our own sector, we do that. On the issues of the operationalization, we are doing them at a pace and the scale we can afford. But the DG is here, and DDG Lucena, she does the oversight of this institution on behalf of the DG and the ministry. They can say in our own plan, what timelines are they going to be fully operational in a manner that Honorable Mo, you have said. But more importantly, I'm very pleased on behalf of the ministry that the labor matters and staff transfers, we can start to move in earnest, but it does not mean that there will be no challenges, especially around issues of change management and other issues that we need to do. But DG and Sis Lucena, they can talk about system and other issues to say, when can we say they are on their feet? Thank you.
Thank you, DG. Would you like to add?
Yes, thank you, Chair. In response to the target timeframe for fully establishing the new CMAs, we do have regular meetings with the CMAs. It is a process. The establishment of the CMAs is a process which is being coordinated and supported by the department. We've set ourselves quite an ambitious target now that the transfer agreement has been signed to assist the CMAs to be fully established within 6 months from now. Chair, I'd like to also ask Frans to add a bit more to answer Honourable Moore's question about why some of the CMA reports show a higher level of support from the department than others. Frans?
Thank you, Chairperson DG. Chairperson, the reason why the other two, those are established CMAs, so we've been increasing the allocations over the years. With the new CMAs, they are still under the department in most of the cases, so we are still going to normalize their budget over the MTF. Most of the functions are still with the department, including the related budget and expenditure. So over the MTF, we will be normalizing also. Yeah, but we are also pushing more for increased revenue collection, as the honourable member has indicated, than reliance on the grant. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Honourable Moore, are you satisfied?
More than satisfied, Chair, and well done to the department and to the catchment management agencies. Exciting to see things moving in the right direction, and hopefully we can just keep a light thumb on this. If anything changes, we'll need to be aware, but we can focus our worries elsewhere. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I maybe ask whether we should not look at a model that the more they collect, the more money we'll give them, and the less they collect, the less grants they will give. Maybe that will assist us in getting them to get more money in. But that is just my thoughts on that. Honorable.
We'll look at incentive scheme, Chair.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
an incentive scheme, yeah. Honorable Kegakilwe, it's you, and then Honorable Reddy, and then Honorable Ditebe. I'm just worried about Honorable Ditebe because the member or Mr. Gondlo, if I can't pronounce his surname, from Mzimvubu. No, I'm now losing everything, but they sound exactly the same. So I'm just worried about that, but we'll deal with that when we get to his questions. Honorable Kegakilwe.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to Deputy Ministers and the chairpersons of the agencies as well as their delegation. Chair, I'm going to start by saying what I said during the day, in the morning, with regard to the policies, the strategies, and all those things. We were given an impression by the department that before the listing of this CMAs, they submitted a business plan of which we expect that all the policies, the strategies, the structure, the budget are supposed to be in that business case. So I will request the agencies, the three agencies, that what is outstanding is for the board to approve the policies and those policies to be implemented. And I will just go to my first question directed to Pongola-uMzimkulu, CMA. They are having about 129 staff members, and we don't get it clear as to when will those employees be transferred. If it can be confirmed by the CMA as well as the department as to how soon will the employees be transferred. There is no way that we are going to have a CMA without employees. And I just also want to find out as to what criteria are they going to use to place those employees. Does the CMA or the department have a migration policy for the placement of the employees? And then I'll go to Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. The presentation indicated that they've appointed the debt collectors as one of their aggressive way of debt collection strategy. So I just want to find out as to how much are they paying the debt collectors per month, looking at our unemployment rate, being aware that in most instances, when we use service providers, work is done fast. But when are we going to address the issue of unemployment? And then I'll go to Vaal. Chairperson, according to the presentation, the Vaal, they only have 40% of their vacancies filled. I just want to find out as to how are they going to operate with only 40%? And do they have a plan to fill those outstanding positions? Are all those positions funded or non-funded? And lastly, what are the limitations and when will the positions be filled? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister.
I'm going to request, Chair, we thank Honorable Kegagile, Comrade Betty, that of the issues, the first point is taken note of, like we said, but DG and DTG Lusenga and Annette, if they not Annette, I mean Eustacia, they can still come through. But these ones that are being directed to the CMAs, I'm going to request that the chairs and the CEs, they quickly respond to these issues that Honorable Member has raised. Thank you. And then the department will conclude.
Thank you, Pongola. Your 129 staff members.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I think the DG has actually deliberated as far as this 129 staff are concerned. As he's also explained, that it is a process and there is a criteria in terms of close match. And I think the OD department is working very closely in order to basically do placements as far as these positions are concerned. And we hope that there will be some sort of finality within the next 6 months, as he has indicated. And we await the transfer of the staff as a CMA.
Thank you. Mzimvubu.
Thank you, Chair. We're going to request the assistance of the CFO or the provincial head in terms of the debt collectors' costs, because we don't have that figure at hand. I'm not sure if the CFO would be able to assist us.
CFO.
Thank you, Chairperson. The percentages vary. There's a commission that is being levied, charged, so it varies between 5 to 10%. It is National Treasury's transversal contract, which we are participating in. So we only pay based on the collection of those handed over debtors, but we do have those sliding percentages for all the debt collectors, service providers from the Treasury transversal contract.
Thank you. Vaal.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Kegagile. Chair, I think all of us sit with the very same challenge in terms of the staff transfers. And if you look at that target that we have set there, that is basically after we have received a promise, if you like, that we would have the staff being transferred within the next couple of weeks, latest 6 months. So what we are saying there in that specific target is basically after that, the percentage of vacant positions that then will be there as a result after staff transfers, then only, you know, we look at having that as a minimum target, that the vacant positions that we would fill that with 40%.
Thank you. DG.
Thank you, Chair. Conrad Grieve, our Chief Director for Human Resources, will respond further on the issue of the staff transfers. Conrad?
Thanks, DG. Good afternoon, chairperson, members, DMs, and chairpersons of boards. The issue about when will the employees transfer and do we have a migration policy? Now, the transfer agreement that we very recently entered into with organized labor basically spells out the terms and conditions of the transfer process. The transfer is done in terms of Section 197 of the Labour Relations Act, which means that employees will not be worse off. And also, the transfer agreement also spells out the process of, and I think we previously mentioned this to the portfolio, but that portfolio committee, but that we're giving employees a choice to transfer or not to transfer. If they do not transfer, they will be placed in alternative positions in the department. If they transfer, then they will not be worse off. So the transfer agreement was a very intense process of engaging with organized labor. And as I said, we're pleased to inform the committee that about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, the agreement was signed off by the majority union, which is now which then makes it a valid document for implementation. We are busy setting up roadshows, engagement sessions with employees. In December, we did engage a couple of provinces. It was Gauteng, the Free State, and the Western Cape. But then, through an agreement with organized labor, we then decided that we're going to put a hold on the engagement process, conclude the transfer agreement, get it signed off by the bargaining chamber, and then resume those engagements. So we are planning within the next week or two to start prioritizing those provinces that we didn't previously visit, and having virtual sessions with the other staff that we have visited. Chair, then there was a question around whether the issue about the vacancies that are funded. As soon as the employees have given their choice as to whether they transfer or not, we then place them against, or we offer them the positions, we place them against those positions then. We will then go and look at the vacancies. I think with the acceptance of the Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma, I think all the boards have signed off their organizational structures, which is what the employees are going to be placed against. And it will then be the vacancies that are funded that remain in the organization once the employees have transferred. Those are the vacancies that that the CMAs will then be filling. But they obviously need to be funded, Chair. Thanks.
So maybe, Chair, if I can just add that all the employees who are transferred to the CMAs will be transferred into funded posts, either funded from revenue or through augmentation from DWS. We have planned for that, and we're committed to that, as ensuring that all the employees move into funded posts in the CMAs. Also, to add to the answer, there's going to be a very careful matching and placing process. We worked with the CMA on the organograms of the CMAs, and the organograms of the CMAs that have been approved by the boards have been deliberately designed in order that they can effectively receive these staff being transferred from the department. They've been deliberately designed so that there will be positions on the CMA structure to which the staff can be moved to without being worse off. So staff won't be promoted as a result of this transfer, but we will endeavour at our utmost to move them to do the same work at the same level in the CMA when they're transferred. In some instances, it might be slightly different work that they do in the CMA, but they will still be at the same level in terms of salary and benefits. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
The last point, Chairperson, Honorable Comrade Betty, just note that in a transitional arrangement, especially around policy position, Chair, in terms of good governance, the board still has to apply their minds and approve them. In as much as we're transferring the function and they are considering, and these boards, they will do what they're supposed to do. The structures that are there are just transitional structures, like DG says. They are transitional in nature because their job has been performed by ourselves. But the more they've done additional due diligence, every CMA that we've done our own assessment because we've been running these particular areas before. There is going to be an escalation going forward, but issues around viability and the other issues, will take them into account. But the issues of the workers, Chair, in the department, very, very contested issues. And we hope now that the major unions are signed, the others are going to be on board. We should then be in a position to continuously report to yourselves how are we managing this transition into fully fledged CMAs. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honourable Kegakilwe, are you satisfied with the response you received?
Thank you, Chair. I am satisfied, and thanks for the responses from the agencies as well as from the department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Reddy.
Thank you, Chair. It cannot be business as usual. We are here, especially myself. I represent a party that is very critical of the way we do things because in our engagement and interaction with communities across the board, you cannot tell me that our communities, the end users, are happy with what they're getting. I mean, look at the water situation. Look at pollution, the rivers that are being polluted, waste treatment works that are collapsing, E. coli levels in the beaches, and all of that. So it just cannot be business as usual. Now, let's look at where I'm coming from, Chair, before I get to my 3 questions. The catchment management agencies, it came about as a result of an act in 1997 or 1998. Now, nothing stops us from sitting back and asking ourselves whether that provision in that act is actually working for our communities. I mean, 15 years later, we have only 2 of the 9 or so CMAs that's actually fully functional. And what we're doing now is trying to speed up, trying to get something done that could not be done in 15 years. The Deputy Minister is going to tell us, well, there was no money. I want to ask the Deputy Minister and ask the department, where are you getting the money from today? Because the situation today for communities is worse than it was 15 years ago. Now, having said that, let me look at some of the issues. I mean, I served on a water board for 11 years. And during that time, we dealt with catchment issues as a board. So you cannot tell me that water boards are incapable of doing the same function as the boards that we are creating today. I mean, we went through a process of transformation in the country where we created wall-to-wall coverage of water boards. And every province has a water board today. And we're going now and creating new water boards, so many boards. And I think the purpose of the department shouldn't be to create more boards, rather to start streamlining the boards that we have, make them more streamlined, focused, and we'll be able to hold them accountable. Boards already have an administrative infrastructure. They have technical expertise, and they have a regional presence to manage water catchments. So why do we need an extra layer of boards, CEOs, and procurement officers who simply repeat what water boards could do more efficiently and at half the cost? Let me go to the questions, Chairperson. The first one relates to, in all the presentations I've heard so far, there's talk of stakeholders, but I don't see stakeholder impact analysis. It is easy in these reports to just come and give us a helicopter view. It is in the detail that is where the devil is. So who are the stakeholders we're talking about? Communities, municipalities, industries, and of course the media. Chairperson, over the weekend, I saw a Sunday Times front page advert by Rand Water, a government SOE, advertising in Sunday Times. Who are they trying to attract when they already have their customers set in through legislation, but they've got these big adverts in the Sunday Times? I want to know from the entities, all 3 of them, what is their stakeholder budget? How do they use this? How do they monitor the effectiveness of the spend? Do they give gifts to board members and other gifts? If so, can they elaborate on the amounts that's used for that? My second question relates to Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. Now, I see, Chairperson, a weak emphasis on transformation and equity. Let me explain what I'm talking about. The water use allocation data indicates that whites still occupy 93.2% of the allocation and blacks 6.57%. I'm not saying we must bring whites down. I want to know, after 30 years of this democracy, we still have such racially skewed figures within this water department. And to add insult to injury, 8.1% are female representatives. I want to know, what is the clear plan that this agency has to address these disparities? My second question, and here I want to disagree with Honorable Moore, in that we don't praise a fish because it swims. We are here because we're not saying to these entities that you're not relying on the department. They're all going to come to the department because their budgets are still short. And we said, come to us when you need the money later. One needs another 25 million. My point is that the end user is ultimately paying for these boards. 82% of funding in Mzimvubu and Tsitsikamma, and the same applies to the other boards, comes from water users. Now, Chairperson, this high dependency, does the department agree, poses a risk if billing and collection underperforms? Imagine if they can't pay, and when you're relying 82%. The next thing is, how would water end users feel when 60 to 70% of that budget that's coming from the end user is used to pay salaries and to do administration? Only 30% is coming back to them. Can you see the gross anomaly in this whole thing? So I would like to get some comment, and I think the comments would be applicable for all three entities around the issues of stakeholder impact analysis, and of course transformation and the overdependence on resource charges. I would also like the Deputy Minister to comment on my proposal around the issue of water boards being mandated and given the mandate, and the law allows it, by the Minister to be able to do the same work that these boards that we are trying to create now to do. I thank you very much, Chairperson, for this opportunity. I'll listen to the responses.
Thank you very much. Now, Deputy Minister, I think we understand the Honourable already has a problem with the CMAs, and he wants to have water boards, although we don't have water boards all over the country. But would you please respond to that, Deputy Minister?
No, thank you so much. Honorable Reddy, we are a constitutional democracy. The responsibility of our minister, Honorable Chairperson, let's implement the law without fail. You know, Honorable Reddy, we have been in the water sector yourself.
Chairperson, my hand is raised. Order. I would like the Deputy Minister to put on his camera. He's got a nice coat on. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's my Russian coat, this one. Why do you want me to be seen with my Russian coat? Chairperson.
Continue. Don't, Honourable Reddy, please. Let's not play around with this.
You know, Honourable Reddy, Minister Majordina and ourselves, DMC and myself, we come into a department, we inherit its assets and liabilities. We took an oath to actually abide by the Constitution and other laws. The issues around water resource management and water services provisioning, they are clearly articulated in law, Chair. You know, the National Water Act, those who wrote it, I was still a youngster at that time. It's a very, very good National Water Act, one of the best we learned. It had principles. One of the principles was issues of water user participation. The CMA are in law, is section 77, including Chapter 7. If the Auditor General, Chairperson, were to come and audit whether have we implemented the law, we're also going to be accused of not actually implementing the law. The law and the National Water Resource Strategy 1 was clear, Chair, that by the year 2008, all these agencies will have been formed. At the time, we could only do 2. For various reasons in the past, some ministers, they decided to hold it back a little bit. In the 6th administration, with Minister Mzimvubu, we took a decision to respect the law, not only respecting the law, but the principle of decentralized water management at a local level. That's the decision we've taken. We're implementing it. It's not a perfect system, and it's a system that will perfect as we go. But it does not necessarily mean the tenets of the National Water Act around water resource development, planning, management, and protection were not done. The Department of Water and Sanitation have done these functions without fail, in as much as there have been limitations in the past, but we've done well over the last 30 years. At the same time, Honorable Reading, we are quite aware the water boards are governed by a different legislation. They are coming at a particular point in the value chain. They are coming at a point around bulk water. When they are coming around bulk water, which is a primary function of the water boards, and that function is clearly defined in the Water Services Act, of which we are very fortunate here in the portfolio committee. We are more experienced on that, but equally experienced in the issues of the Structures Act and the Systems Act. The arrangement we did with Umgeni, where you were a board member, to have its own entity called Umzimvubu, that entity. It was just to do some of the functions because it could have been delegated at the time in the absence of the CMA. And they've done that work very well in management of that particular system. Even Rainwater was doing some of the work to say some of these areas where there's a capacity in the water boards, they could do the function. But doing that function is not that legal is their function. It was a temporary measure. There is nothing wrong, Honorable Reddy, if you wanted to propose a review in legislation. We will highly appreciate it. In our case, we've already put the review of the Water Services Act that was enacted into law by President Nelson Mandela in 1997, and President Mandela did in 1998, the National Water Act. You see, even that the National Water Act was signed after the Water Services Act. There are things after 30 years of democracy and 31 years of democracy that we need to do. It will come to you, and if you feel strongly about it, to say it's a principle. But as a person who's a scholar in water like me, you know there's a philosophy in water. There's something called a doctrine in water. There's something called systems theory. This thing called integrated water resource management is part of our doctrine and the DNA. If you think there's a new scholars that have came in, whether in Holland and everybody, and say that it is not the right thing to actually have this kind of a management arrangement, we're open to ideas. We don't have a monopoly of wisdom. We like people that have independent minds, because you will make us to see things differently. But put your ideas on a paper, leadership. Let's engage. And then tell me, why should we do deviation from the systems theory and the philosophy of what? But the function has been performed without fail. But these institutions that are here, you can clearly see them. They are in an area where, who are these stakeholders? It's a simple matter, Honorable Reid. You know it. The stakeholders are water users. In other words, it will either be the industries, it will be agriculture, it will be mining, the forestry sector, many, many other sectors, including us as citizens, represented as domestic users, represented by our municipalities. Stakeholders, it means that But then there are other stakeholders who are indirectly or directly affected. Those people who are actually experts, institutions of knowledge and research. We all manage water as a public good for our own benefit. The last issues, then the DG can come in. But the other issues, Chair, I welcome Honorable Reddy. Let him put a paper. Or if he wants to do a webinar, we can have a panel. I'll join in. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. DG, would you like to add something before we go to the water boards to specific questions?
Yes, just on two of Honourable Reddy's points. The one is on the what he called high dependency on revenue from sale of water to water users. Chairperson, the water sector in South Africa is supposed to be financially self-sustaining. There's no alternative. If we were to move away from that model and to say that water should be funded from VAT or from income tax, we would require a much higher level of VAT increase than the 2% which was recently turned down by Parliament, or 0.5%. It would have to be hugely higher. The fact of the matter is we can't afford to pay for water using income tax and VAT or borrowing by National Treasury to pay for water. Water has to be funded from sales from revenue from the sale of water. DWS's maintenance and operation of the dams is funded from revenue from the sale of water. The water board's functions, their construction of new infrastructure, their operation and maintenance is all paid for from revenue from the sale of water. Municipalities' maintenance and operation has to be funded from the sale of water. And similarly, the work of the Water Research Commission is funded from the sale of water, and similarly the CMAs has to be the same. So there's nothing wrong with the model. We don't really have an alternative as a country. It's fiscally not an alternative to say that water is going to be funded from the fiscus. So we don't see it as a problem. What we see is that just like with all the rest of the water value chain, we need to improve billing and revenue collection and credit control right across the water value chain. That is our challenge, rather than to say we need to move away from it being financially self-sustaining, because the alternative is not really an alternative. It's not fiscally possible. Then also, Honourable Reddy asked about the water use allocation and the fact that there's a very strong historical inequity in water use allocations. Chairperson, our Chief Director responsible for this area of work, Advocate Skosana, did respond to an earlier question on the same issue, indicating quite a lot of detail everything we're doing as a department, all the measures that we're taking to try and address this historical inequity. Would you like us to me to hand over to SIPO to repeat, or would you like to just take it as being on the record?
I think it's already on record. Can we then go to the water boards on the stakeholder impact? How do you see stakeholder impact, and what budget is allocated to that? I think you need to re-emphasize the stakeholders, farmers, industry. Maybe explain that to the honourable member or to all of our members. Thank you. I'm asking Mzimvubu to start with that, and we'll go through to Pongola and then Vaal.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I think some of the questions have already been touched on by the DG, but starting with the stakeholders, I think I have mentioned in my presentation, amongst other stakeholders, that we're looking at catchment management forums, of which we've got 10 in our area. We've got irrigation boards, which are in the process of being transformed. And I think that also deals with the issue of water allocation, and that process of transformation of irrigation boards is quite an important process and not an easy one, because there are issues of assets that are involved. We've got Water Users Association. We've got some, of course, communities, the municipalities, organized business. So these are quite a range of stakeholders that we're dealing with. In terms of the actual budgets around this, I'm sure the CFO can touch on the actual numbers in terms of the budgets, but this is a very important element of our work as CMAs in terms of enabling the participation of the stakeholders, which would assist in terms of transformation of the sector. I think the issue around the overdependence on water charges has already been responded to by the DG. We believe that this is part of what has been caught to the water sector in terms of the user pay principles and the polluter pay principle. So we've got no other alternative but to rely on the users paying for what they use. I think that would be all from my side, Honorable Chair.
There was a question directly to you on the high percentage of whites having water and blacks not. Can you maybe, I know it's been explained, but this was directed directly to you as well.
Yes, Honorable Chair, that's what I touched on when it was more related to the water use allocation, which I think the DG has touched on it, that it's a historical reality. Yeah, it's a historical reality that we are dealing with as part of the transformation of the irrigation board and other water institutions.
Thank you. Pongola, would you like to add on the stakeholders?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, just like the previous speaker, we have stakeholder engagement at water catchment forums. I think what's also important is that, Member Reddy has wanted to get some sort of indication in terms of how we're dealing with water use allocation. And within the Pongola area, what the CMA actually tries, or the Proto-CMA actually tries to do, is to assist with HDIs with their EWLS application, as well as also in terms of crop suitability. I think we are also looking at curtailment in terms of the water allocation in terms of the Mzimvubu area, where there is 10.7 cubic meters that is actually prioritized and apportioned for HDIs. I think in terms of water use associations, we have actually developed a trust program, and this particular trust program basically assists HDIs in terms of offering them equipment and capacitation to become commercial farmers. And I think this will also allow them to basically sustain themselves. I think in terms of IGR within the stakeholder engagement, we've also had close relationships with the Agricultural Development Agency. And this is basically to assist the emerging farmers in terms of the applications as well. And I think the Proto-CMA staff actually sits in terms of building this relationship with the development program or the development agency in order to assist with those applications. And I think this also allows for, transformation. And I think it also covers us in terms of your section 27, in terms of empowerment, in terms of your HDIs. In terms of the stakeholder engagement plan, I think the previous speaker has also covered me in terms of that. But I think also what's important is that there is a lot of engagement in terms of our strategic partners. We're focusing a lot in terms of the universities and trying to capacitate the youth, in terms of trying to draw them into programs, and so that there is some sort of succession. And I think there's also transboundary engagements that is currently taking place. So a lot that's being done in terms of capacity building, as I've explained, in terms of assisting your HDIs. I think what is also important for me to mention is we know that there are issues in terms of the the rivers being polluted, as Member Reddy has outlined. And I think with our engagement with the universities and trying to bring in new thoughts and going in there and trying to assist rather than taking the punitive measures, I think that is also something that we need to look into. And there's got to be synergy as well in terms of human settlements, in terms of how we do things. I think what is also important when we're looking at allocation as well, that priority is actually given to applications that are impoverished, the impoverished communities. And I think this is basically, focuses in terms of basic human needs. So I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Dominis Fransman.
Thank you, Chair. I think I've been extensively covered by both two speakers before me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Reddy, are you satisfied?
No,
I
thank
don't
you, Chair.
think so, but
Yeah, definitely not. I think there's been, I don't know if it's deliberate or what, an attempt to simply misquote me or misunderstand me. And I think let me just clarify this very quickly, right? The first thing is this. The Deputy Minister talks about the law and he says we need to follow the law. No, that is what the boards and the staff, they follow the law. Our job as members of parliament, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we are lawmakers. We are here to review the laws. I will take the Deputy Minister up on his suggestion, and I'm busy writing a private member's bill now on this issue, which I will take through the processes. I will raise this also in Parliament through a motion. Now, the next issue that I find to be a little bit, I don't know what's going on here, but members are talking about stakeholders. I know who the stakeholders are. I'm saying that the APP reports lacks a critical element in that it does not tell us what is the stakeholder impact analysis. In other words, you're spending so much of money on stakeholder engagements. How many engagements did you have in the past financial year, and with which stakeholders? Is it yielding any results? That is what I'm talking about. Then the DG, oh my goodness. I don't know whether he heard me or whether I'm speaking another language or something like that, but I'm thinking, am I speaking English? Are we understanding the English I'm speaking? I am not talking about going and finding an alternative source of funding. Next, you will hear somebody saying that Vispan Reddy of MK Party is proposing increase in VAT. No, I am simply saying if we can halve this budget, which is close to R1 billion, by simply moving this responsibility to existing water boards, we will be saving R500 million, which can be used to repair aging infrastructure and a myriad of other serious matters, that's challenges that's currently faced by the department. I'm certainly not asking us to go and find money from another source. I'm saying that if we can take this catchment agencies and move them to existing water boards, we can save money and use that money to deal with the real challenges that's facing the water industry in South Africa. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you very much. And Deputy Minister, I'm taking you up on that webinar.
Thank you. Honorable Reddy, thank you very much.
I'll be there, Chairperson.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You can invite us as well. Honorable Ditebe, your time now.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm not particularly impressed by Elon Musk-esque cost-cutting measures. Having said that, Chairperson, I'd like to say that it is important for the catchment management agencies, to the extent now that we've got 6 of them. If you take VOCMA, for example, the water management forums, how far do they go? My assumption is that for people in the Free State, there might be, say, for example, in the Frankfurt area and those kinds of areas. But you need to apprise citizens of the work of the Catchment Management Agency so that people, as citizens now, can be actively involved. I like what Pongola said about the need to be judicious so that you do not just narrowly concentrate on punitive measures. I believe that if there's a higher level of awareness on the part of citizens with regards to pollution, then I think that outcomes would be much better. Chairperson, we've talked about who actually gets to pay in the end. If, for example, a municipality in Mpumalanga or in the Free State or anywhere is penalized for polluting a river, etc. It's ultimately the ratepayers and not those that are negligent as far as their responsibilities legally and constitutionally are concerned. Just with regards to pollution again, Chairperson, things, obviously, we know that the catchment management agencies cannot be oblivious to the phenomenon of climate change. And I'd like to know, back again to the issue of active citizenry, various kinds of pollution, including, for example, acid rain and its impact on the pH of the land and the plants, etc., etc. We need that, Chairperson, so that people get to understand. In my daily interaction with communities, it's only at the point of people understanding that they will appreciate what, for example, a catchment area does, a river, a dam, even the reticulation network that municipalities have authority over. So, Chairperson, I'd like to know whether, in fact, this is being extended to people that are, say, far away from your Gauteng, etc., because we cannot have, for example, 9 catchment management agencies. So, Chairperson, lastly, my understanding is that if you look back to, say, the existence of the various water boards, we had well over 15 at some point. Now we have 9. But it does not mean that the number of people, households, firms, etc., etc., that the number has necessarily decreased. We may have a right-sized, rationalized, reformed, whatever, reduce the number of water boards, but the responsibility remains the same. So my understanding is that the water boards need to focus on the treatment of raw water and ensure that it is compliant with SANS 241 as it gets reticulated to water service authorities, and that somebody else needs to ensure that they have the requisite resources to manage water as a resource, and that nobody gets to waste it or steal it or anything of that sort. And that responsibility resides, Chairperson, with the CMAs. And I don't really see any duplication. Obviously, within the broader ecosystem, you cannot look at the one entity in isolation from the other, because the entire ecology connects dialectically, if you like, the CMAs, the water boards, and ultimately the WSAs. But at the point, as we know, of the WSAs, the water boards have already complied with SANS 241. So, Chairperson, those are my views, and perhaps 2 questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yes, I totally agree with you, Honourable Member. We can't say that because 105 municipalities not adhering and is not looking after the supply of water, we've got to close down all municipalities. So yeah, that is correct. And it is a point of view of individuals, and it's fine. And it's like the Deputy Minister said, it is good for us to have, like Honourable Reddy, that thinks differently about it, because it makes us also to think. And it is now for him to convince us that we are on the wrong track, and that what he's got in mind is the right track. And I do appreciate that we differ on this, because it also let us as individuals grow in thinking of water going forward. That said, Honourable Deputy Minister, would you like to answer these questions or refer this?
I'm going to do a referral, but I fully agree with yourself and Honorable Ditebe. And then let me just ask DG, supported by his DGs or even one of the provincial heads, if they want to come in on certain matters. And the CMAs. DG, please come through.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Minister. Eustacia is going to make a couple of points. Eustacia.
Thank you, DG. Honourable Ditebe, I just, with regards to the initial functions of the CMA, 3 of the initial functions are to do with improving and strengthening community participation. And that is being done through, like the CEs have mentioned, through stakeholder forums, through catchment management forums, and through the development of the catchment management strategy. One of the main components of the catchment management strategy is to ensure that stakeholder involvement is involved and capacitated, especially the rural communities, in being part of the development of the catchment management strategy. And thirdly, the coordination of the planning in the different municipalities, water use associations, and different industries, so that there's alignment in planning and activities, water-related activities. Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Chair. I think that's all from head office side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honourable Ditebe, are you satisfied? I think it's more or less also statements that you've made.
Can you hear me?
Honourable Ditebe? No, well, now, very, very bad, but you can continue.
Chairperson, I'm actually driving.
Can't hear you.
Chairperson, I'm saying,
hear you, honourable member,
driving,
so I presume you are satisfied.
Okay, Chairperson, I am sorry. I had to stop on the roadside to make my contribution. I'm on my way to the airport, but I'm quite satisfied. But perhaps if we could, with regards to where these stakeholders are, for example, as I said, my assumption is that with regard to VOCMA, the geographic reach of the agency will go way beyond, townships, towns in Gauteng, etc., into the Free State, because there isn't, as far as I'm aware, any other catchment management agency that's named, which is, say, maybe this side in the Southern Free State to the side of the Northern Cape, etc. So that's the point I wanted to raise, and just so that I as a member of Parliament, get to help raise the awareness on the part of the people to say, this is an entity that exists, and this is how it connects to the mandate of the Water Board, with the department and right up to the WSAs. I meant it in that sense. So perhaps if that could be responded to more specifically, Chair. My apologies, I'm on my way to the airport. So as it is now, I have to stop in order to make this last point. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Lastly, on this matter, DG, would you like to add something on this?
Eustacia?
Thank you. There are forums all over Vaal-Orange Catchment CMA. So not only in the townships and in the built-up urban areas, but also in the rural areas. There are catchment management forums where these issues and the development of the catchment management strategy is done. But where they are not, the CMA will definitely expand those forums to include all stakeholders of all that are water users and potential water users.
But also, Chair, we agree 100% with Honourable Ditebe's suggestion that it's extremely important to bring citizens on board on issues of catchment management, water conservation, and protection of our water resources. It's something that all citizens need to be aware of, and we've got a huge amount of work to do to build that awareness.
I just want to get a sense.
Chairperson, can I just...
Will we get an actual presentation?
Honourable Maslobo, can you please mute yourself?
No, thanks, Chair. I wanted to say...
Honourable Maslobo, can you mute yourself?
Thank you.
Honourable Maslobo, yeah. The Minister after DG is still busy. Continue, DG.
No, thanks. I'd finished. Thank you, Chairperson.
DG, you can continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honourable Maslobo, did you want to add something? Honourable Maslobo, did you want to add something?
Yes, Chair. You know one thing, Chair, when you were with us in the water indaba on theme number 5, building sensitive and resilient water communities. We take your guidance. We're engaging with SALCA. We want to also have water committees as part of a subcommittee of a ward committee. Remember, Chairperson, there are these people's forums or people's organs of people's power. We have to roll them out, not only around the question of water resource management, water conservation and demand management, but also, Chairperson, on the question of water delivery. And we take the guidance by committee members, and as part of the resolution we've made, let's roll out structures within the governance structures, whether in water, whether through local government, where communities, they can raise issues, but they can also participate in decisions that are being made on water delivery. Thank you.
You muted yourself, Deputy Minister.
I'm done leadership, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I'm moving on to Honourable Dlelanga.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, I must say that today we've witnessed the twin of Honourable Ditebe, and we could not differentiate which one is speaking unless you have to listen attentively, that the one is asking and the one is responding. Chair, I think the first point I want to make is that, Chair. I think let's appreciate the department and wish it well on establishing all these CMAs. It's clear that it's work that was supposed to be done a long time ago and still relevant even today. And I've listened that also there are 2 that has been functioning. But what I want us to check from the department are just 2 questions. Or 1 question from department and 1 from Pongola-uMzimkulu Catchment Management Agency. The first one is on the question of, which is targeted to the department, that what are the common challenges that they have identified that confront these CMAs. In particular, the two ones that have been in operation for quite some time. And how, if there are that they have identified, what are the mechanisms that they seek to use to address and avert those challenges in these new CMAs that have been established? On the Pongola-uMzimkulu catchment management area, in terms of the number of river systems monitored, each financial year they're targeting one. The question that comes to me, why targeting one each and every financial year? That's the second question that I've asked. Otherwise, I'm covered by other members on other questions. Only those two questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. DG?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Minister, would you like to start?
No, the DG can start, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. DG, my apology.
Thank you, Chairperson. There are common challenges faced by the CMAs and by the two ones that have been in existence for some time. The two CMAs that have been in existence for some time, I wouldn't say their main challenges are administrative or financial. Their revenue collection rates are very good. They're well administered. The key common challenges are the challenges that face all of us that we've been discussing today, including, for example, sewage pollution by municipalities, which has a huge impact on our water resources. And the CMAs have a regulatory role to play, working with us and the rest of government to try and reduce that sewage pollution. Then other key challenges affecting our water resources that are within the ambit of the CMAs to do things about include soil erosion, the impact of alien vegetation, and then, of course, there's the big issue, which will be a major focus of all the CMAs and is one of their core mandates, which is the issue which Honourable Ramaila raised very strongly, which is this whole problem of the historical legacy that we have of inequity in water use license allocations. So all of the CMAs have all of these challenges, and they're major challenges. Some of them are extremely difficult problems to overcome and will take some time to overcome. And we'll need to work together with us as the department to overcome them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister, would you like to add?
Before I add leadership, can we ask Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma? There was a question that Honorable Shelange asked about why one river or their targets, or whether it's Pongola, I can't remember.
Pongola.
Pongola, please, Chair.
Pongola, can you continue?
Chairperson, I think from my understanding, it's 12 rivers that will be monitored. And just to add in terms of some of the challenges that we are being faced with, I think one of the most critical ones will be your effects in terms of climate change. And I think what will be important is for us to actually work through a climate change adaptation policy in order to deal with that, especially with the hydrological changes that we will be facing as far as rainfall patterns are concerned. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much.
On my side, Chairperson, with your own engagement, one of the biggest matter we will keep an eye on is the viability of these institutions, that they don't collapse. Even in our own engagement with yourselves, the issues of rising cost, especially around the question of COE, Honorable Moore and others, we have raised the point, and little money that will be available to do these things. The improvement plans around the revenue management, credit control, these are all the issues. We'll keep an eye on them. But more importantly, DG, like you said, how these entities, they become instruments of change and positive change especially for those who are left behind, but also around the issues of becoming catalysts for socio-economic development in their various areas, and how issues of involvement of communities on the ground. We will keep those matters, Chair, on the radar screen, because those are the issues around the effectiveness, but also internally, we are going to look at the capacity of the department, Chair, on how to oversight these institutions. The more the number of these institutions, Chairperson, they increase, our oversight responsibility and the technical know-how of those who are responsible for institutional reform and oversight must be at the level and the right level, because those who guide the guidance must be at the right levels to manage the work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Langa, are you satisfied?
Thank you so much, Chair. I must say I'm satisfied, although the number that was written on the presentation was 1 instead of 12. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Matlangu.
Thank you very much, Chair. And greetings to the deputy ministers present here and the DG together with the team and portfolio members present here. Chair, let me go straight to my questions because I've been extensively covered by my honorable members. Chair, the question that I want to ask, I think there are two. The first one is in relation to the issue of global warming, Chair. To say what are plans for this entity, for these agencies, entities that in relation to the global warming that is posing, Chair, threat to our water. In particular, floodings that they are damaging our streams, the rise of sea level that is posing a threat to our communities. We've seen it in Eastern Cape, currently what's happening. So I just want to know what is our plan as these entities to be able to defend our communities. Chairperson, another question that I want to ask is in relation to the monitoring of compliance. I want to check, how do we monitor compliance? Do we wait for an incident, or do we wait for somebody or to deviate from regulations before we act? Or there are ways that we monitor or we prevent these preventative measures, in particular in terms of pollution? So I want to check, the DM also spoke about the municipalities there which they've been found transgressing. He spoke that there's one municipality that has been fined almost 300 million, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to check, because even in the Palisade, you happen that you found them, you find them the certain amount of money. One person want to check whether do they pay that money now. Who has been found guilty or who has been found transgress these rules, then being able to pay this money. And at other points, sometimes you are saying you have found the municipality, or you have fined the municipality a certain amount of money, where the municipalities are even failing to pay their ESCOM bill, they are even failing to pay rainwater. Even now, we are finding them a money that they are not being able to pay it. What do we do in instance? These service water authorities, they can't even pay those fines. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. And I think the monitoring one, Deputy Minister Matlobo, I would ask Honourable Deputy Minister Sitolo to answer the second one. Minister, would you like to deal with the global warming?
Now, the global warming one, Chair, we did actually even at the same question when we were in Parliament. We are signatories to the UN Convention on Climate Change. We are led by the Ministry of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. There is a water component, which is climate change response adaptation plan that takes into account a number of issues, early warning systems, and many other issues. How do we build much better because of the current issues? Because even working with weather services, Chairperson, is no longer easy to have proper projections. What will happen? In certain instances, you can make a projection to say it's going to be 30%. In the past, when you say it's 30%, it will not rain, but now it can do flash floods. And very importantly, we are trying to actually even put more resources, depending on those facilities that are there, to ensure that our early warning system are more readily responsive. We are also participating in disaster management. But in our own areas, there are problems about communities, Chairperson. There are many communities that have built, they've been cycled either planned or unplanned within water courses and the floodlines. And this has been a problem. It needs a whole society approach. Traditional leaders are doing it. Some people are actually putting people like around Ojaske, your Vaal River, Umtata, and so forth. And when these disasters, they do happen, Chairperson, then the capability of the state to respond to them. But an issue of climate change, it must be made a societal issue to deal with some of the issues. I will not be in a position, Honorable Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma, to go to more details. But I did give the answer about 2 weeks ago, and I promised to furnish him, even if it was an oral response, Chairperson. I've responded on this matter more on detail on climate change and how other actions are being done. I'll ask the Office of the Minister just to give the further details so that we manage the issues of time. The other matters of compliance and how are we dealing with the issues are absolutely correct. My brother Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma is here, is our champion. Thank you.
Deputy Minister Sithole.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you to Honorable Mahlangu for the question. I think Honorable Mahlangu raises an important question, and I think even last week during the portfolio meeting, we did speak about this issue quite extensively to say, first of all, when the department does take a municipality or a water services authority to court over issues around pollution, the municipality is viewed as a juristic person, and as such, there is no personal liability towards a mayor or a MM in terms of having to carry the personal costs or whatever the case may very well be. Hence, we are endeavoring on amending the National Water Act so that we can of personal liability. Honorable Mahlangu is quite right. I think my biggest frustration, Chairperson, is that once a municipality is found guilty and they are fined, whether it's 250 million, whether it's 140 million, the reality is that it is the residents of that municipality that must then finance those particular funds in order for the municipality to then implement corrective action plans as would be ruled upon by the court. So there is now a certain sense of dependency of the very same transgressor to now have to undertake remedial action on an issue that was caused by them. So the important aspect here is to indicate that those amendments to the National Water Act are significant because they will then allow us to then be able to have a situation where personal costs are paid by then the MM or any other director that is deemed appropriate. One of the most important aspects in and around this issue of reporting and turnaround times, you would have heard from VOCMA's CE that they endeavor to attend to issues of pollution in 72 hours. We established these forums, particularly the Vaal River Anti-Pollution Forum, specifically so that communities can be able to report incidents of pollution to the catchment management or to the department where we are still active in that particular space, so that we can be able to then engage with the relevant WSA in terms of the issuance of notices and directives, as well as the monitoring aspect thereof. The biggest issue that we do have, unfortunately, Chairperson, and we've said this many times in this PC, that because of the infrastructure collapse across many of our WSAs, I mean, of 144, 105 of them are in a critical state. Of the over 800 wastewater treatment works that we have in the country, almost 330 of them are dysfunctional or in a critical state, which does then indicate that we are facing a serious crisis in as far as the issue of pollution is concerned. And I'm quite happy that the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee are starting to actually see this issue for what it is, a crisis. And so we are at the forefront, Chairperson, of making sure that we're able to make legislative amendments, set up relevant forums that will be able to assist us in making sure that we're able to address this issue, whether it is through the polluter pay principle, whether it is through our efforts in establishing the National Polluter Registry, making sure that we are able to hold industries accountable, but with the biggest contributors of our pollution being dysfunctional wastewater treatment works, discharging raw sewage into our water resources. And I think that's the biggest problem, and that's something that we need to deal with. We've got a hotline of the department where and call and lodge a complaint on whatever water and sanitation related issue. And we, of course, then take those issues up with our regional offices and catchment management agencies where particular functions are available. Bokma, earlier, has done great work in terms of Neisner as well as Kanaland, and they're doing very good work in as far as that is concerned. And we have had those intergovernmental relations meeting where we are meeting with WSAs as well as other forums that we've been able to establish as a department in making sure that we're able to really work very hard with WSAs in addressing some of these issues. But until such time, Chairperson, that personal liability can be, can be carried by mayors and MMs for the destruction of our water resources, I think we will see this sort of lackluster attitude in addressing the issue of pollution of our water resources. But I also do think, and as I conclude, Chairperson, that because South Africans generally, and whether politicians or ordinary residents, have not been able to really look at the value chain in its entirety, because I think, as I've said before, that people don't protest because our rivers are polluted. People, protest because water is not coming out of their taps. But until we are able to realize the impact that the current state of our rivers and dams has on the availability of water that comes out of taps, then we find ourselves in a crisis. Deeply polluted rivers means that it is more expensive to treat to potable standards. It is more expensive to sell in bulk, and it is therefore then more expensive for residents to then purchase from the water services provider. And if we can't begin to have a handle on that particular value chain, the beginning of the value chain that is, we are going to fundamentally and otherwise to deepen the water crisis that we are facing as a country. And I think that is why it's important for us as a department to undergo these legislative amendments, to pursue these civil and criminal cases, so that we can be able to be seen to be very serious about preserving our water resources and being able to bring them back to the level or to the standard that we know they were before. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. DG, would you like to add something to this?
Eustacia would like to add. Eustacia?
Thank you, DG. In terms of the climate change question, we have climate change strategies for each water management areas, and they provide different options relevant to the area, but they will be integrated in the catchment management strategy. Also, just to give you an example, the IUCMA has included the climate variability as a key risk in its catchment management strategy, and it's engaged with Mozambique and Eswatini around the transboundary issues. In terms of the breeder oliphants, they also have incorporated seasonal water availability and drought in its operational rules for irrigation schemes. So climate change has been incorporated in the catchment management strategies in all cases.
Just to add, Chairperson, we do also have a national climate change adaptation strategy for the whole water sector. And the new CMAs will look at that as they develop their strategies. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Honorable
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
I've decided to send it to you, and also I've asked the Secretariat. I gave a very long response on this matter of climate change and how are we dealing with, so that Honorable Mahlang can be furnished, so that we can see the alignment from the National Water Resource Strategy to Catchment Management Strategy, and how are we handling all the particular issues. And I'll be pleased that because I decided, or because of time to be shorter, that please let's furnish him with that particular response I did. It's still relevant for him about climate resilient infrastructure, technologies, inclusive of communities, and how are we dealing with the issues. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. I have also put that on the committee's WhatsApp group. Honorable Mahlangu, are you satisfied with the comprehensive report that you received on your questions?
Thanks, Chair. I think I'm covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The last two members is Honorable Ramahila and Honorable Mbiku. Honorable Ramahila.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings once more to the two.
Sorry to interrupt, Chair. I raised my hands.
Okay, your hand was not up, but I promised you.
Yes, I did.
Honorable member, I promised you that you will get your bite before lunch. So, but I will come back to you as well. Thank you. My apology. Continue, honorable member.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the two deputy ministers once more. I would like to talk about the matter that relates to delimitation of boundaries. But in the Sekhukhune area, or Sekhukhune District Municipality, we have a situation where administratively Sekhukhune is under the purview of Limpopo province or Limpopo region. But in as far as catchment management area is concerned, Olifants catchment area, it is in Mpumalanga. And when you apply for water rights or water license, you are referred to Pongola-uMzimkulu, which is in Gauteng. And I want to make a plea to the department to consider a one-stop shop for the people of Sekhukhune, so that people of Sekhukhune should not continue to be subjected to this burdening inconvenience of straddling between the three provinces when seeking for services. And I think that's very important. Now, in as far as stakeholder consultation is concerned, I don't even know which CMA does Sekhukhune fall into. And I'm saying this because even in my previous experience elsewhere, I know for a fact, and I'm available to constate whatever facts might be brought around this matter. I know for a fact that the people of Sekhukhune haven't been consulted, and I must mention here, Chair, when we talk Sekhukhune, we're not talking the white farmers of Groblersdal and Maglol, because those are the ones that get consulted mostly. I can rest assure you now, and I can understand the logistical issues and administrative issues in as far as this is concerned for officials of Limpopo to consult with people of Sekhukhune broadly. It becomes a logistical and administrative challenge for them to do so. And therefore, and I would want the department really to reconsider really making broader consultation with the people of Sekhukhune, especially the rural farmers, that I can tell you now, and I'm saying I'm available to contest any person who say he has done broad consultation in Sekhukhune as far as the establishment of the CMA that Sekhukhune falls within the boundaries. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister.
No, Chairperson, let's take the comments and recommendations by Honorable Ramayela on how we manage the interface around water use licensing. It can be a little bit confusing, Chair. I don't want to lie, it's absolutely correct. When you are in Mpumalanga, you think the application has been made to Mpumalanga office, you find it's made in another office. It does actually create problems. Even myself, there are instances when the matter, we got confronted on the ground. In other words, there must be a communication mechanism, including issues of civic education. When it comes to the issue of the CMA, I will take a discussion with Honorable Comrade Stan. One of the things I know, which is a sore point, Honorable Ramayel, is mostly the irrigation board, the Water Use Association. We are speaking about an area where you come from, you led, but I'm also very familiar with the issues on the ground. There is this the Moriche Water Use Association now, Chairperson. It has been converted. I know in certain areas, even when we went to Zanin, where black farmers were saying they are still being excluded. We don't have a problem, Chairperson, to actually work with the Department of Agriculture and ourselves around the question of opening up the membership of the Water Use Association in that particular area. It's going to be very important. We don't want to be leaving anybody behind. That's why even when we're assigned by ministers to deal with the problem of Mfuleni, when communities came, we never turned them back. I ended up chairing a community structure called a Polka Steering Committee of more than 52 organizations. I know now because I oversee as a chair of the Polka Steering Committee on behalf of the minister. Even now, the rollout of the Holy Funds Management Model, the DG and myself will meet with Mzimvubu-Tsitsikamma. We should be able to ensure that these municipalities, they communicate with traditional leaders and other communities that are there. But it's mostly on the issue of the transformation of the irrigation board to the Water Use Association. On the CMA, we'll take as a guidance that the new reconfiguration of these institutions, where they are, will drive a communications program, Chair. In as much as the users in the main are organized users in terms of sectoral work, will be able to take those points. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honorable Ramayela, are you satisfied with the response and that the Minister will take this up personally with you as well?
Thank you, Chair. As long as it doesn't fall within the cracks, eh?
Yeah,
You know where to
it's your
find me.
responsibility to make sure it falls. You can run him from here to Cape Town or from wherever to Cape Town if that falls through the cracks. Honorable Mbiku, and then the last one then would be Makoti, Honorable Kaula. Can I get Honorable Mbiku?
Thank you very much, Chair. My only comment would be like, as you are aware, Chair, I'm new in this sector. I'm just a few months old in this sector, and be that as it may, I've observed that there is so much potential in these CMAs when one looks at their APPs in conjunction with those of the department. And Chair, all I can recommend is that we should consider visiting these CMAs to learn firsthand about their operations during this financial year. And Chairperson, as you know me that I'm from the Eastern Cape and I'm directly affected. Even now, I'm from the area where we're busy rescuing the people, who were affected by the disasters. But now, because now the Eastern Cape is currently battling with the effects of flooding, all what I would like to know is whether these CMAs are directly involved in this disaster risk management related to the flooding. I've managed to hear the responses regarding the climate change from Honorable Mahlangu, because that was one of my questions, because I was going to ask that if the climate change management or adaptation part is part of their respective catchment, manages and strategies, So I'm directly affected, and I'm very curious to know, because we're still battling here in Eastern Cape. Otherwise, that's only my comment, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The one question whether CMAs are involved in the disaster in the Eastern Cape or in any other place, Deputy Minister?
The CMAs that are involved are the ones that are well established, Chairperson, around the disaster preparedness and early warning system. But the incident that has happened in the Eastern Cape, Honorable Comrade Mbiyo, very, very serious tragedy that has never happened in our country. We are led by His Excellency the President, the Minister of Disaster Management, Minister Majorina sits, and us as Deputy Ministers. We are working with the province of the Eastern Cape at this stage. We are following all the processes around the question of the rescue teams that they've been working so hard. In the meantime, on our side, the Minister has mobilized the capacity available. Amadola Water, including our own expert, there is Sis Posha Makanya, she's working down on the ground, ensuring that there's a restoration around water provisioning, looking at issues of water tankering, issues of the infrastructure because the treatment plant is being flooded, and any other issues going forward to deal with that. But after the disaster response Chairperson, there are fundamental discussions we need to do around the early warning system, the settling of our people. At this stage, we are not at a stage to try to apportion blame at anybody, but we also to deal with the issues of disinformation, because there were people who were also doing disinformation, trying to accuse the department of actually releasing water there. And we know the place in the Eastern Cape, Chairperson, in June, it does not normally receive so much rain. And then on that particular eventful day, we know they received more than 100 millimeters of rain, just in a shortest period. And our dams are so designed in a manner that if it has a spillway with a flood absorptive capacity around 101, 102, it starts releasing water down. There are many tributaries that are also feeding into that particular system. But the reports our teams have looked at, the engineers, the structure of the dam is good. But equally is the same problems around the communities in Gauteng, in the Northwest, including the communities in the Northern Cape. Remember when the integrated Vaal River system, Chairperson, with a lot of rains. We need to continuously discuss it so that at least we don't have problems. On the other side, there are too many private dams that we are busy registering them, and some of the people are doing illegal releases, and some of them, like it happened in the Western Cape, we had those challenges. But our deepest condolences, but we'll come and work with you as a committee, with other committees, so that as a country strategy around disaster resilient communities, we have the right planning approaches, but then the capacity of the state, when disasters happen, do we have the capacity to have evacuation centers, all these other matters, and how society must respond. Enkos.
DG, would you like to add?
No, thanks, Chairperson. I think DM has covered it.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mbiko, are you satisfied with the response from the Minister?
More than happy, more than satisfied, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The last set of questions, Honorable Pongola.
Thank you, Chair. Although busungikhohliwe. No, Chair lana. First number one, ngifuna ukuphikisa Deputy Minister uSithole ngixolele isibongo sakhe. Might lana kulelizwe sine water crisis. Kulelizwe sinayo water crisis. I crisis ekhona. Izinto zamabomu ngenxa zamathenda. Nika abantu ukuthi nanku umsebenzi abawenze bese beqasha amathenda. Abantu laba bakhohlwa umsebenzi.
The chairperson, we're losing Mama Kaula.
Buyela kulento ye water dam njalo njalo. Hello, did you hear me? Hello?
We are losing you, Honorable Member. Your line is not very secure.
Okay, let me change because
Where she is now is much better, Chairperson.
Okay, you can speak, Honorable Member. It sounds better now.
Okay. Ngithi ngithaka ngiphikise Deputy Minister lo munye nothi yena mahlobo lo nomunye. Mayithi kulelizwe sine water crisis. Kulelizwe sinayo water crisis. Into ekhona sinenkinga yabantu abangafuni ukusebenzisa izimali ngendlela efanele. Njengokuthi mabenikeza imali wena umsindo mangabe benikeza imali bayithatha lezo mali baqashe amalendo abantu bamathenda kuba bathembela kakhulu kumathenda lawa agcina engawenza umsebenzi. Njoba ngikhuluma nawe nje kuyimanje lana oPongola uzokhumbula yena qoba upress uLokhuzana uchair wethu. ePongola sine crisis enkulu yamanzi. Amanzi khona isikhathi lana rest in peace uDudu Myeni. Lawa sasihambe siye khona senze oversight. Lase abantu bakhona othola ukuthi banayo iLokhuzana amadam kodwa abantu bomphakathi abasizakali ngalawo manzi. Yini inkinga na? Lana thina sinabantu abamavila even ama-official ayasho ukuthi bama-water management bakwazi ukugada kodwa ekugcineni bayasifeyila. Yingakho-ke sesigcina sinalezi inkinga. Abantu koPhongolo amademu akhona kabasizi ngalutho kunoma basize baze bagcine bayongena emfuleni uPhongolo River bokha amanzi bovika izingwenye ngenxa yokuthi la bagudu ukukhuluma ngamaphepha. Ukungcoliswa kwamanzi kuyiqiniso lingephikwe. La thina nje la into ezosisiza kuyafuneka ke sibize manje abakwa environment, health, ama-human rights na wonke lama no agriculture njengoba ekwabeka la uchair. La sizokwazi khona ukukhuluma kwenzeka. Amanzi thina sinankinga nakulelizwe. Once waphela lamathenda, once waphela labantu laba abayicabangela bona abakhohlwa abanye abantu abadla together nabantu abaphansi on the ground. Ngeke siphinde thina chair sibe nenkinga yamanzi. Namadamu ethu imfula kuyimanje amafemu angcolisa amanzi. Kunamafemu nje owafica njalo ehamba yothulula udoti. khona le nkampani lengikhohlwa ngazi ngebiza ukuthi nethutha angase ngiyibamba kangaki uthola ukuthi imile kade yomoma indle ithulula lana emfuleni. So manje mangase kuqina umthetho njengakuqala ke kuboshwa abantu. Mbona sathi kuzohamba ekugcina kube right. Nomasipala baboshwe. Nabo laba bahlezi lapho abantu bama-water management. Ngoba bamanage into engathi issue. Amanzi awekho abantu bayahlupheka. Amadamu akhona kodwa sebenza abantu. Bese ngizobuza ogcina nje ngicimbuzo. Ukuthi why kube nesinye isizwe lakho abantu abamnyama bakwi-crisis yamanzi bonke kakhulu isemakhaya isemalokishini kodwa olunye uhlobo lakho abamhlophe nje abakhala njengakhona oPhongolo iy'nkomo zakhona ziyafa daily azinaho ngisho utshani nganxa ngoba bona amanzi abanawo kodwa uma uthi uhamba kula maplazi bonke labantu basemaplazini amasimi abahlaza green. Yilezo zinto engifuna ukwazi ukuthi mabeplana lapha yani bayibeplana bethi la abantu abamnyama siwabeka eceleni bebona bazoba ngena nje ukuthi khona kuzolokhu kungena imali na. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Would you like to answer?
Sorry, Chairperson, can I interpret? Pardon me.
You're welcome. My apology. Yes, please do that.
Thank you. I would like to disagree with that we have a water crisis. Instead, we have an issue which is caused by people intentionally through tenders. There is a problem with the tender system in this country because people do get money, but it's not spent correctly. So there is too much dependence on this failing tender system. For instance, at Pongola, where even the chairperson may be aware of this because we once went there for an oversight. And at that time, even the late Dudumieni was there, may she rest in peace, when he did that oversight. We learned there that there are dams, but people are not benefiting from these dams that are there. We find that officials are lazy. Even here, we're talking about water management, but this management of water is failing. So that is where our problem lies. At Pongola, there are dams, but these dams are not really benefiting the community. For instance, people end up going to the rivers to get water and face an issue of struggling with crocodiles, which are there in those rivers. We keep on speaking about documents, papers, this and that, but we don't see any action. Yes, indeed, there is water pollution that we are all aware of, which is why, as the chairperson also mentioned, we need to have the environment people here, health as well, human rights, agriculture, who are all important for us to discuss matters and issues concerning water. That is where our main problem is. But when it comes to the country lacking water, no, that is not the case. We do not have a water problem. It's mainly the tender issue, and there are lots of greedy people there who are spending money for themselves. Like I've mentioned, there's no water issue. We do have dams, but there are some companies that are going to, which are sanitation companies. They go and they offload feces in our waters, in our rivers, which is a problem that we have to deal with. In the municipalities, I keep saying that people have to be arrested because they are not doing the job that they should be doing. There is a failure when it comes to management of this water, which is why our people are struggling. We do have dams, but they are not benefiting our people. I have this very pressing issue, a question that I've had for a while, that why is this water crisis only affecting a fraction of the people? A certain race of people, which is the Black people in the rural areas as well as the township. Black people are struggling when it comes to water, but not the white people. I mean, when this was planned, was the decision mainly to make these people suffer? For instance, in Pongola, we've seen many cattle are dying there because there is no grass for these cattle. While on the other side, in the other farms, the grass is very green. So why are these people struggling? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Firstly, Deputy Minister Sitolo, would you like to answer, and then we can go to Honourable Deputy Minister Maslobo?
Chairperson, my apologies. I've been battling with connection, so I could not hear the point that was made by Honourable Makaula.
Right. Can we, Honorable Matlobo, can you respond?
No, thank you so much, Chairperson. Honorable Mama Fighter Kaula, the issues you raise, they are issues that we are grappling with. In the main, the issue around Pongola, in Pongola, Chairperson, you will know, the water catchment is found in Jozini. It's called Jozini Dam. That water from the Pongola River, it flows from Paul Petersburg and the other areas, it comes down. And in the main, we have made a decision. That dam is no longer a single-purpose dam. That's why when we intervened with Minister Mchunu, we started a Section 63 intervention that is supposed to give the water from the Pongola Port Dam. It gives the water to Umkanyagu, the district municipality, where there are a number of projects that the then Umhlatuze Water Board, they were handling. At the very same time, there's an intervention, Chairperson, that is helping the municipalities under Zululand District Municipality. As I speak right now, Chairperson, a lot of money from Regional Park Infrastructure Grant and the money from the Water Services Improvement Grant has been given to Zululand District Municipality. I went to the area of Mkanyagude to open some of the projects about a month ago. Very, very good work happening. Around the issues of black farmers, Mama Kaula, you know, there was an irrigation board, the Chairperson. And the irrigation board, because the facility around of the infrastructure, even the abstraction point in the Jozini Dam, which is the Pongola Port, there was a discussion to meet with those farmers because that irrigation board is being transformed into a water use association that we've completely done. So black farmers must not be excluded. That's why we're to do a project to support the province of KwaZulu-Natal around the refurbishment and the renewal of the canals, especially around that issue of Makhathini flats and the other homes towards Pongola when you drive down through that particular, is it N2 road, when you go down them. Pongola, they do have challenges of water, including areas like Edumbe and Paul Petersburg, including the issues of sanitation. We are working with the municipalities, both in the district and the local level. Some of them, they are still using septic tanks in as much as it's a sewage system. They still have to build wastewater treatment works. Mama Kaula, around the question of pollution, that Mzimvubu could not hear because of issues of network. We do have problems, as you are absolutely correctly indicating. A number of these municipalities and metros, their wastewater system have collapsed. If you look at the Green Drop report, it's a clear indication that more than 67% of the wastewater treatment works are a problem. Some of these wastewater treatment works, traditionally, they've been oversaturated. In other words, municipalities never invested in the growth of these wastewater treatment works because the population was growing, they connected too many houses. And some of the honeysuckers, she's correct from various that are doing the issues of pit latrine in terms of O&M, the septic tanks. Some of them, they bring this pollution itself, either to the wastewater treatment works that are not functional, but some of them, they are disposing them in the water courses. We must improve our capacity just to do oversight using issues of technology and bring them into light. Issues of compliance monitoring, issues of prosecution, we have a number of cases we have reported to you yourself in the past, both municipalities and industries. And if Mama Kaula sees some people who are doing this, will be very glad, Chairperson, to get just the number plate of these honeysuckers that are actually moving around. When we do that, Mama Kaula, kuthiwa ngesintu nawe ulipoyisi. we all have a responsibility to report those criminality. The issues around whether there is water crisis or not, Mzimvubu was correct. We don't have a water crisis in terms of water security. We're still in balance. There is a water deficit. But Honorable Mzimvubu is correct. The crisis is the deteriorating water quality in South Africa. The water quality is not at a stage where we want. And our scientific report of the green drop and the blue drop, it says there are certain areas where it is not safe to drink the water from the tap. In other areas, the biodiversity and ecological issues are affected. That's why your system like the Arctic is green, the system like the Vaal is green. That crisis, as you always say, it has to be attended to. Because if we don't do that, Chairperson, the water will be available, but we must treat it. When we treat it, it will be expensive. Who's going to bear the cost of treating of the water? Some of the produce we produce for agriculture and for export market. The World Trade Organization is very strict when it comes to issues of health and hygiene. Some of the products are going to be kicked out of the international market. The necessary investment and the exports that we can do, importing our own product, creating more jobs. These are some of the issues. There is no difference between your concern around pollution and Mzimvubu. I think there was just a misunderstanding on that point, but we're all on the same point. No water pollution. Pollution must be stopped and polluters must be prosecuted and they must pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Makahula, are you satisfied with the response you received?
Thank you, Chair. I can't say I'm satisfied because these things is not happen here in South Africa. So izwe lethu alikho kwi-drought. 2, ngithe sifuna ukubona abantu beboshelwa lento yokuthi abantu nithi amanzi ayimpilo, kodwa ekugcineni abantu asibaboni beboshwa ngenxa yamathenda. And lapha mhlawumbe uzokhumbula uminister lapha yana sathola ukuthi kunamapayipi owakufanele
Honorable Member, your signal is bad. We can't hear you. Honorable Member. Honorable Member.
Lawa ma-case ngithi it was 2017 no 2018. Ashfuna ngicingwe umbuzo wami uthi ke sakhuluma into eyodwa. Yabonga.
Honorable Member, your signal is bad, but thank you very much. Would you like to translate quickly for us?
Yes, Chair. Our country is not facing a drought. Yes, that's true. But we want to see people being arrested because they keep saying water is life, yet no one is being arrested because of the tender system. I did lose the MP for a while. And then lastly, she said that there was an issue discussed in 2017, 2018, and the minister is aware of that case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Stanley, is that a new hand?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My apology. I had asked for the name of the CMA covering Sekhukhune District Municipality, and further, if I could really have the name of the CEO, acting CEO, or if there's a board, the name of the chair, and if I could be favored with the contact details of such people. Thank you very much.
DG, would you make sure that the Honorable Member get that information?
It belongs under Limpopo, Olifants, CMA. Our capable advocate Mweng is our chair there, because the Limpopo River and the Olifant system, they are capturing each other there. And Matebula, who's the acting CE, is seconded by Randwood. Thank you. But will give him the contact details.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. You owe me a few cups of tea for interrupting when I don't ask you to respond to it, but I'll get that out of you.
Thank you.
Honorable Member, you have received the response. DG, did you want to add something to that?
No, thanks, Chair.
Lastly, I just want to ask one question quickly, if you would allow me, and then we can. You don't need to answer me now. The monitoring of our water flow in our rivers, where we have stream gauging stations, does that fall under your department, or is that monitored by the CMAs? And if it is by the department, can I ask that we get a report from the department on how many of these monitoring stations we have, whether we use it a sound wave or gauging, whether the DG could maybe forward that to me, I would appreciate. Thank you.
The DG and DDG, shortly, Deborah, they are handling those matters. Maybe DG can allow Deborah just to come in quickly, and then the additional information can be given to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. The measuring infrastructure, like the weirs, are owned by the department, but it is one of the functions of the CMAs to monitor those flows. It's one of the things that's work in progress in terms of us defining in detail the relevant roles and responsibilities of the department and the CMAs, and we'll have to see whether that, given that the ownership of the infrastructure is going to the NWA, but we'll have to see whether these weirs, for example, would go to the CMAs, or whether we would retain them as the department and then just have the CMAs utilizing them to do their measurements.
Thank you very much, but you will send me a report on that. Honorable Ditebe, I really would like to end this meeting. You've got the last bite. I hope you want to close this meeting.
Yeah, Chair, just the last one. I reported to the provincial head of DWS, Dr. Ntidi, I reported the continuous discharge of raw sewage into the Dikwe River in Virginia, Machabeng. He indeed reached out to me, but earlier today, when I drove past that area, the raw sewage was still discharging into the river, in as much as there may be issues of penalties, etc. But is there anything that's being done practically to ensure that the discharge is stopped forthwith? That's the only thing, Chairperson, that I think I left out. Thank you.
You, Deputy Minister.
No, thanks. Dr. Ntidi is here. If I'm not mistaken, they were here. He can just come in quickly to say what is the latest through the DG. If not, there's DDG Matter responsible for provinces. Thank you.
Dim, I don't think Dr. Ntidi is in the meeting currently. I don't know if Rizimati knows the answer, if he's in the meeting, but otherwise we can come back to the Honourable Member shortly with a response on this issue. We'll get hold of Dr. Ntidi and find out what is the latest and give the Honourable Member a report.
Thanks, Chair. We asked that we do that. Chair, Dr. Ntidi was here earlier on with other provincial work. It looks like he has disappeared. My apologies.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, colleagues, and ministers and DG and personnel. Thank you very much for a very long meeting today. I think we have dealt with a lot of issues, not resolving everything, but I think we are moving in the right direction. And although some of the members disagree, it is also in a good spirit that we take from those members that differ from the department the good ideas that they bring to the table. And I think that is the role of us in this committee, to also not just agree with everything, but also disagree or bring new ideas and new vision to the table so that we all can grow on our work going forward. Thank you once again for this long meeting, and I would now adjourn this meeting. Thank you and goodbye.
Wait,
Please
thank you so
adjourn
much.
it with happy birthday to me, Chair.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
DJ.
Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair.